Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Kennedy half-dollar coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, you're about to discover one of the most talked about, most celebrated, and most collected half-dollar coins ever struck in the United States of America. Yes, I'm talking about the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar. Now listen very closely, because this isn't just any coin. This is a bicentennial beauty with secrets and surprises that many collectors don't even realize. If you're a collector, or just starting to explore the world of rare and valuable coins, then do not blink, because this Kennedy half-dollar might just be hiding in your house. And it could be worth way more than you expect, so stay with me till the very last word, because we're about to dive deep into the details that separate an ordinary half-dollar from one that could bring you a small fortune. This coin was specially minted to celebrate the 200th anniversary of America's independence, 2 full centuries of freedom, power, and pride packed into one single half-dollar coin. And let me tell you, when the US Mint released this design between 1975 and 1976, people rushed to get their hands on it. Unlike the regular Kennedy halves, this one features a bold and patriotic reverse design showing Independence Hall in Philadelphia, where the Declaration of Independence was signed. Just imagine that, holding a coin that honors one of the greatest moments in American history. And here's what makes it even more exciting. There were 3 versions of this coin made, one in regular copper-nickel for circulation, and 2 special silver-clad editions that were never released for daily use. One was struck for collectors only, and the other came in special proof sets from the San Francisco Mint. And that's where the real treasure begins. Collectors today are on fire for these coins, especially the ones with pristine surfaces, no scratches, no handling, and full luster shining across both sides. And then there's the thrill of the hunt, because some of these half-dollars come with rare mint errors. We're talking double die obverse, off-center strikes, or even a faint extra profile behind Kennedy's head. Coins with those kinds of minting mistakes are like finding gold in your pocket change. And here's the kicker: some of these error coins have sold in auctions for jaw-dropping prices, especially when found in near-perfect condition. One example? A 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar with a dramatic double die error and flawless surfaces sold at a rare coin auction in Las Vegas, and collectors were battling over it like treasure hunters. The final hammer price? Let's just say it was far from spare change. Now, if you've got one of these bicentennial coins sitting in a drawer or tucked away in a jar, don't ignore it. Check it carefully, look at the edge, and inspect both sides under good lighting. If your coin has that mirror-like shine and no visible damage, or even better, if it has a rare error, you could be sitting on something truly valuable. Here's a powerful tip for collectors: always look for the S mint mark, which means it came from San Francisco. Those proof and silver-clad versions with the S are the most desired by serious collectors and often carry the highest value, especially if they're still sealed or in original government packaging. And here's another secret many new collectors miss: coins that have full bell lines on Independence Hall and sharp, crisp lettering often command much higher prices from dealers and buyers. Now imagine this: walking into a coin shop or an antique market, and discovering one of these beauties shining under the glass display, priced way below what it's actually worth. It happens more than you'd think, because many sellers don't know what they've got, and that's where smart collectors step in and grab the opportunity. In recent years, prices for rare or high-grade bicentennial Kennedy halves have climbed steadily, and demand is only going higher. Collectors from all across the United States and even overseas are trying to build complete sets, with every mint mark, every finish, and every variation. There was a collector in Chicago who found a near-perfect 1976 S-proof Kennedy half at a flea market for just a few bucks. Later, that same coin was graded and sold at auction for an amount that could pay someone's rent for an entire year. That's the kind of story that keeps collectors searching and dreaming. So don't underestimate this coin. It's got history, it's got style, and it's got potential value that's only going to increase as more people realize what they're missing. And now, for the moment you've been waiting for. If your 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar is in uncirculated or proof condition, and especially if it's silver-clad or has a mint error, its value can go up to $45,000 in collector markets. That's right, $45,000. That's not just a coin, that's a possible jackpot hiding in plain sight, so keep your eyes open. Check your collections, and never toss a bicentennial $half aside without a second look, because in the world of coin collecting, treasures don't always glitter, they shine through history, rarity, and passion. Top 2, we're talking about the 1973 Kennedy $half, and trust me when I say, this coin has stories to tell. Now listen carefully, because not all coins from the 70s were created equal. This one right here has a few secrets hidden beneath that shiny surface, and if you've got one tucked away in your drawers or coin albums, you'll want to hear every word, because what looks like just another $half can actually be something incredibly valuable. Let's start with the thrill of the hunt. Unlike earlier $half, the 1973 version was not released into general circulation for the public. It was only included in mint sets and collector's proof sets. That means if you ever find one in your change or from an old roll, consider it a rare discovery. These were never meant to be casually spent at the grocery store. They were minted with collectors in mind, and for that reason alone, they've held a special place in the heart of anyone who loves American coins. But here's where things get even more interesting. Some 1973 Kennedy $half were struck with errors, and those mistakes can turn a common collector's item into a one-of-a-kind gem. Double die obverse, off-center strikes, and coins that were accidentally minted on the wrong planchet have all been found over the years, and those types of errors can send prices through the roof, especially when the condition is strong and the coin is graded by a top-tier service. There was a case in Texas where a collector stumbled on a 1973 $half with a crisp double die error on the reverse, and that single coin ended up being sold at a coin show for a price that would make your jaw drop. And it's not just error coins that have serious value potential. If your coin is in proof condition, with that mirror-like shine and no visible damage or fingerprints, it could bring in serious money from collectors who are hunting for the best possible examples for their sets. Coins that still sit in their original government packaging from 1973 are even more desirable. That's what collectors love, coins with a story and a touch of untouched history. Now here's a quick tip: if you're out looking for one or checking your own collection, look for the mint marks under Kennedy's neck. A small D means it was minted in Denver, while an S means it came from San Francisco and is likely part of a proof set. Those S mint mark proofs are where the big money starts to come in, especially when the coin has deep cameo contrast and sharp strike details. One more thing to watch for: the coin's edge. Some rare versions have smooth or weak edges due to planchet errors, and if you spot one like that, it could be a hidden gem. Collectors from places like Chicago, Miami, and even Los Angeles have been seen buying up these coins at local conventions and auctions, often paying more than expected just to secure the finest examples available. The demand is very real, and it's growing every year because more and more people are starting to realize that coins from the 70s are aging into their historical prime. So if you're sitting on a 1973 Kennedy $half, or if you ever come across one, don't pass it up too quickly. Flip it over, take a good look under the light, check for any strange marks or shine, and if you see something unusual or flawless, that's your signal to hold on tight, because now it's time for the most exciting part. If your 1973 Kennedy $half is in uncirculated mint condition, especially if it comes from a proof set or has a rare mint error, its original market value can reach up to $20,000. Yes, $20,000. That's the power of knowing what to look for, and being in the right place at the right time. These coins may not scream for attention, but to the right eyes, they shine like treasure. So thank you for watching and spending time with us as we uncovered the story behind this powerful piece of American history. If you enjoyed this and want more real coin stories, rare finds, and hidden gems from across the world of collecting, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a chance to discover something incredible. Top 3. Have you ever held a coin in your hand and felt like you might be holding a forgotten piece of hidden treasure? Because that's exactly the feeling people get when they come across the 2000 Kennedy $half. This is one of those coins that looks simple at first glance, but hides more mystery, more surprises, and more collector energy than you'd ever expect. And if you've got one of these in your pocket change or old family stash, don't even think about skipping this video, because what you're about to learn might completely change how you look at coins forever. The year 2000 was a turning point for the US Mint. It was a time when $half were still being produced, But fewer and fewer people were using them in everyday transactions, and that's where the rarity starts. Most people don't even realize that the 2000 Kennedy half-dollar was never released into general circulation. It was made for collectors only, in limited numbers, and only available through official US Mint sets. That means the odds of finding one in your spare change are already super rare, and if you do, that's your first clue you're holding something special. But it doesn't stop there. The 2000 Kennedy half-dollar comes with different versions. Some were struck for circulation-style mint sets in Philadelphia and Denver, and some were created as ultra-sharp proof coins at the San Francisco Mint. And here's where things really get exciting. Some of these coins have been discovered with stunning mint errors. We're talking double die obverse, reverse planchet issues, off-center strikes, and some coins even showing ghost-like extra images behind Kennedy's head. Collectors live for that kind of thing. One collector in California picked up a 2000 Kennedy half with a reverse strike-through error at a local auction house. They only paid a few dollars, but when it got properly graded and verified, it sold later in a collector's marketplace for a small fortune. These are the stories that give coin hunters goosebumps. So, how do you know if your coin is something valuable or just another half-dollar? Look closely, really closely, at the edges, the shine. The strike. Is the image clean and full of detail? Are the stars sharp and the fields mirror-like? If you spot a coin with no scratches, deep cameo contrast, and that original government mint glow, you've got something. Collectors are always chasing and check for mint marks. 2A, P means Philadelphia, D for Denver, but if you see that S from San Francisco, your coin could be a proof version and worth a whole lot more. And here's a big tip for collectors and treasure hunters: never overlook coins from the early 2000s. They re-aging into vintage territory now, and as the decades pass, the demand only grows. The 2000 Kennedy half-dollar is part of that rising wave. Coins that once seemed common, but are slowly becoming sought after by dealers and collectors who want every mint year in flawless condition. A seller in Florida listed a flawless 2000s deep cameo proof Kennedy half on a collector's forum, and within hours, it was snatched up by a buyer from Chicago who had been searching for that exact version to complete his set. That's how strong the demand is right now. So check your sets, dig through your old mint packaging, and if you find a clean, uncirculated or proof version from the year 2000, especially with an error or cameo depth, get it checked by a grading service immediately. This is the kind of coin that doesn't look like a jackpot at first glance, but to the right person, it could be priceless. And now comes the moment everyone waits for. If your 2000 Kennedy half-dollar is in pristine uncirculated or proof condition, especially if it has a mint error or came from a San Francisco proof set, its original market value can reach up to $15,000. Yes, $15,000. That's a serious reward for a coin that most people don't even pay attention. Tozo, thank you for joining us today and exploring this beautiful piece of American coinage. Top 4. We're diving deep into a piece of American history that many people ignore but collectors quietly chase like buried treasure. This is the story of the 1992 Kennedy half-dollar, and I promise you, by the time we're done here, you'll never look at this coin the same way again. Now don't scroll away or miss a single second of this video, because what I'm about to share could be the difference between pocket change and a collector's goldmine. There's something powerful about holding a Kennedy half-dollar in your hand. The weight of it, the shine, the way it honors President John F. Kennedy with strength and dignity on every detail of his profile. And the 1992 version in particular has become one of those coins that slips under the radar unless you really know what to look for. This year was a major moment for the US Mint because 1992 was when they brought back silver-proof half-dollars after a long gap. So while the regular 1992 Kennedy half-dollars were minted in copper nickel and distributed in collector sets, there were also silver-proof versions struck only in San Francisco and released in special collector-only sets. That alone makes this year more special than people realize. But wait, we're not even close to done, because some of these coins were struck with unbelievable mint errors that have turned ordinary halves into one-of-a-kind collector prizes. Double die obverse with overlapping text and doubled profiles, off-center strikes that make the coin look slightly warped but in a mesmerizing way, weak strikes that leave ghost images behind Kennedy's head, and even planchet errors where the coin was struck on a metal blank meant for another denomination altogether. These are the coins that show up at national coin shows in places like Atlanta or Vegas and get snatched up within minutes by collectors who know what they're doing. I saw one listed in a regional auction in Philadelphia with a deep cameo silver strike, perfect surfaces, and a rare strike-through mark that made it look like Kennedy had a slash of light across his chin. It sold within hours, because the demand is real and the market for these coins is hotter than ever. And here's something every collector should know: the 1992 Kennedy half-dollar is a key date in building a full modern collection people love chasing every year, every mint mark, every finish. And if you've got a 1992 version in either proof condition or with an S mint mark that glows like glass, you're already holding something special. Now here's a tip for all collectors out there watching this right now: always examine the mirror fields on the proof versions, and don't just look once. Tilt it under a light and watch the way it reflects. You're looking for deep contrast between Kennedy's frosted portrait and the black glass shine behind it. That contrast is what makes a coin pop to dealers and buyers. And here's another hot tip: if the coin has a San Francisco S mint mark and looks untouched or is still sealed in its original US mint packaging, do not break it open. Collectors pay more when the coin is untouched and still in the original plastic case from the government, especially for 1992 silver proof issues. Now think about this for a moment: a coin that most people never even talk about, a coin you might find in an old gift set, a forgotten box, or sitting quietly in a family album from the 90s. That very coin might be worth far more than you ever imagined. So now's the time to look, check your collection, dig through those old mint sets, and pay close attention to anything from 1992, because if your 1992 Kennedy half-dollar is in flawless proof condition or has a known mint error, and especially if it's a silver version struck in San Francisco, it can be worth up to $18,000. Yes, $18,000. That's the magic of coin collecting. You're not just stacking metal, you're discovering stories, history, and hidden value that most people walk right past every day. Top 5, and last rare coin. We're talking about the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar, and believe me, this isn't just another coin from the 90s. This one hides secrets that have been overlooked for too long, and those secrets could turn an ordinary collection into something incredible. Now imagine this: it's 1998, the internet is just starting to change the world, but the US Mint is still doing what it does best: striking beautiful coins with tradition, honor, and American spirit. The Kennedy half-dollar had already become a symbol of pride since 1964. And by the time we reached 1998, this coin had taken on a deeper legacy. This year's version was struck in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and each one had its own story. The regular P and D mint marks were created for mint sets and collector rolls, but the San Francisco S mint produced proof versions that are absolutely stunning. Mirror-like surfaces, frosted portraits, and deep contrast that stops collectors in their tracks. But here's where it gets even more exciting: some of these coins were struck with extremely rare mint errors, and when that happens, everything changes. I'm talking about double dies, where Kennedy's face or lettering appears doubled, struck through errors where debris or grease left soft marks during minting, off-center strikes that make the coin look surreal but highly desirable, even weak edge reading or planchet flaws that change the shape and feel of the coin entirely. And these are not just rumors, there have been real auction sales where 1998 Kennedy half-dollars with errors have sold to serious collectors who understand what they're looking at. I saw one sell in Las Vegas with a strong obverse die clash that had ghost impressions of reverse elements right there on Kennedy's cheek. That coin didn't last a day on the table, it was gone for a premium. Now here's something most collectors overlook: 1998 was one of the final years before the US Mint started shifting the Kennedy half-dollar into even lower production numbers. So while this year isn't talked about like the classic 60s issues, the demand for clean 1998 specimens is growing every single year, especially in proof condition, or in MS67 and higher grades with brilliant luster and no contact marks. And when demand grows and supply is limited, that's when the prices go up. If you've got one of these coins in a mint set, don't ignore it. If you have a proof version with the S mint mark, sealed in its original government packaging, congratulations, that's a keeper. And if you're lucky enough to own a 1998 Kennedy half-dollar with any kind of verified mint error, hold on tight, that's a real collector's prize. Now here's a tip from someone who's been around coins a long time: always use a magnifier and bright light to examine the coin carefully. Check the date, the fields around Kennedy's face, and the edges of the coin. Tiny things make a big difference in value. A slight doubling on Liberty or a weak strike on the stars can mean the difference between a common coin and a rare find. Also, never clean these coins even if they look a little dull. Keeping them in original condition is what collectors value most. In places like Chicago, Phoenix, and Tampa, coin shows have reported high demand for 1998 half-dollars in MS condition and proof versions with deep cameo. Dealers are actively buying them for collections that aim to complete every Kennedy year. So don't throw it in a coin jar and forget it. This coin belongs in a sleeve, in a case, or even better, in a certified holder with a professional grade. Now comes the part you've been waiting for. If your 1998 Kennedy half dollar is in pristine proof condition from the San Francisco Mint, or if it carries a known mint error that's been professionally verified and graded, it can be worth up to $12,000. Yes, $12,000, not bad for a coin that might be hiding in a box of forgotten collectibles or quietly sitting in a mint set you haven't opened in years. Thank you for being here and joining us on this exciting discovery. If you love finding rare coins, uncovering their stories, and learning how even modern years can hold big surprises, then be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and tap that bell so you're always first to hear what's coming next, because somewhere out there, your next rare coin is waiting to be found. Happy collecting and good luck out there, treasure hunters.